Hey, what's up, everyone? Sorry for the false start on the intro. My name's Grant Cohn, back at home after day 9 of training camp, which a lot of you guys saw, which is interesting. So now we can kind of have a collaborative discussion about what happened, not just me explaining to you like Moses. So I have about 6 topics. You guys are free to ask as many questions as you'd like, but I want to start with the quarterbacks. I thought it was really interesting. I was wondering, how are the Niners going to handle this? Is this going to be the day that they introduce Trey Lance to the fans? Like, not really introduce, but unveil him in all his glory, the way that they have for the media this week with, you know, all these quarterback runs, the zone read run a million different ways, all these rollout passes left and right, just using his arm, but using his legs equally. That's what we've been seeing the last week. I was like, I wonder if they're going to show that to the fans today. Nope. That's not what the fans got. The fans got Jimmy G. A whole lot of Jimmy G, mostly Jimmy G. We'll talk about Trey Lance later, but the whole idea was forget about that guy. That guy, I mean, is not, it's all about Jimmy. And it's funny is they have pictures of Jimmy Garoppolo all over the stadium wearing the new red 94 throwbacks, looking real handsome. They're really, really selling it that he's going to be the quarterback this year. So, what did they do to make him look good? First of all, it's subtle stuff, and I don't know how many of you fans would notice it, but it looks like it's the starting defense he's facing. Fred Warner's out there, Dre Greenlaw's out there, DJ Jones is out there, K'Wan Williams, Jimmy Ward. That's it, though. Everyone else is a backup. The entire defensive line is out. Nick Bosa, D Ford, Javon Kinlaw, Eric Armstead, Samson Ebukam, all out today. And I'm sure most of them are really hurt, but Javon Kinlaw, I mean, he practiced yesterday. Where was he today? D Ford, he was in 11 on 11s the last few days, took the day off. Why? Because the goal of today was to make Jimmy Garoppolo look good. Not necessarily to prepare him to be his best during the season, because he could be playing for the Texans this season. It was to make him look good in front of 20,000 people who had their phones out, were going to be recording. And that's what they did. Although there's only so much you can do for Jimmy Garoppolo. You don't call the deep throws, although he threw 2 long ones that almost got intercepted. One to Ayuk running an out route. Jason Verrett undercut it. It was underthrown, almost picked it off. Then he threw a deep throw up the middle out to Kittle, who was double covered, almost got picked off. So they had to, work around Jimmy doing Jimmy, but they still made him look good. And here's what was interesting. They had this period where they usually they just kind of set up at one spot on the field, like the 40-yard line, and just work from there all day. But today they wanted to give the fans a little feel of real football. So they started off at a certain spot and they would drive. And if, you got the first down, you keep going. If you didn't, you didn't. So at first, let's see what he did. He goes 3 and out to start. Hands off to Mostert for 5. Checks down to Kittle for 2. Throws incomplete to Ayuk on 3rd and 3. Passes broken up by Jason Verrett. I don't know why he's throwing to Jason Verrett when, there's Tavon Wilson and Emmanuel Mosley out there, but he was going at Jason Verrett all day, got broken up by Jason Verrett. 3 and out to start. Okay, they come back, and he hits Charlie Werner in the left flat. Ball goes about 1 yard past the line of scrimmage. He runs for 15. Next play, Trey Sermon runs for 20. So they get him down into the defense's territory. He makes 2 nice throws in a row, one to Ayuk over the middle, one to Samuel over the middle, both for 10 yards. Trey Sermon runs for 5. Now they're right in the low red zone. Now Jimmy Garoppolo, it's his time to shine. This is probably where they're going to take him out this season and put in Trey Lance, but they left him in today. And on the first play, he throws the ball out of the back of the end zone. I guess he didn't like what he saw. This is where Trey Lance might scramble. But Jimmy throws the ball away, even though top 5 defensive linemen are out, and he had all the time in the world to do something. Next play, 3rd and goal from the 5. He throws to Samuel, who's covered by Verrett, broken up. So they don't score there in the red zone. So, I mean, they're trying their best to make Jimmy Garoppolo look good, but he's not really following through on his end of the bargain. They've taken out all these starters, and he keeps throwing at the one starter who's on the field. Like, he keeps going at Verrett. And they're like, dude, Jimmy, we're trying to make you look good here. Would you help us out? Come on. So what they do is they give him one more. And this time they take Jason Verrett and Emmanuel Mosley out and replace them with Diamador Lenore and BW Webb. Couple of backup corners. So now the only starters on the field are Greenlaw, Ward, and Warner. And this time, here's what happens. First pass is a check down to Mostert that's behind him, incomplete. He was hoping. The next one is a nice throw. No, it's not a nice throw. It's a completion to Sanu over the middle. It's behind Sanu. Sanu has one of these. You've seen him where like a wide receiver's running this way, spins back this way and catches it and kind of does a pirouette and keeps going. It's really nice by Sanu. Runs for another 20 yards. It's a 30-yard gain. Bad throw behind him. If you guys are there, you know what I'm talking about. Some of these clips are online. Then he checks down to Mostert again. Then they hand off to Sermon 5 yards. Checks down to Sanu for 5. Throws. Okay, you guys remember this one. So they're in the red zone again, and this time he's got Ayuk, he's got Kittle, he's got Samuel. No starting corners, no starting D line. It's like take as much time as you want, Jimmy. Find whoever you want and throw it and get it to him. So he's buying time. He starts pointing. Starts doing one of these, and Ayuk starts running over there, and he throws the ball like right to BW Webb. So that was incomplete. That wasn't that cool. Then the next play, he throws a little dinker to George Kittle for 5 yards, gets him to about the 3. Then the next play, he has a quick throw on the left to Sanu running a slant, throws it behind him. Sanu has to go up like this, misses it. That should have been a touchdown. So they really want Jimmy Garoppolo to like finish the day with a touchdown so everyone can say Jimmy looked good and the Texans will hear, or the Colts. And so they line up George Kittle at like the 2-yard line at wide receiver against Diamador Lenore, who's 5'10" and a rookie. And touchdown. It's like D'Amico Ryans, are you really like that matchup, or were you forced into that matchup? Anyway, that's how you pump up a player's stock, even when he's not even playing that great. It's like, I'm nothing against Jimmy Garoppolo. It's just he plays the same way every single day. You know what he does. There's good Jimmy, there's bad Jimmy. He's limited. We've talked about it a million times. And Kyle here, like, I don't care. He's going to have a good day. I'm going to make sure he has a good day. So I think it's real clear that the Niners want to get a first-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo, think they can get a first-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo, are trying to prove it, and they can't let him crash and burn in front of their own fans. They cannot let that happen. Remember that time where he threw 5 picks in front of the media? They can't let that stuff happen anymore. He just has to look really good. So instead of like training him to be better and like having him work on the deep throws or think he doesn't do that well, just do all the easy stuff, look good, get through practice, throw a touchdown pass against some rookie 5th-round pick, call it a good day, and hope the Texans bite. So that's what the Niners did today, and I think is really perfect. It's what I would do. If the goal is to trade Jimmy Garoppolo for the best thing available, that's how you do it. So good for them. That's what I saw today. When people say that Jimmy Garoppolo had a better day than Trey Lance, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. This is what I saw. I saw a quarterback who benefited from an entire organization propping him up. The defense. I mean, one after another. If the benching the entire defensive line wasn't enough, they had to bench the cornerbacks too. And he still completed like 63% of his throws. I mean, he should be completing like 75 in practice with no pass rush, where he can take his pick of Kittle, Ayuk, and Samuel and Mostert all the time. Use check too. How do you miss? I don't know. Anyway, some people are very impressed. Some people like him. Some people like the story of Jimmy Garoppolo. Most people like his face. I think he's a great guy. But I don't know. Maybe you guys are more enthusiastic about the Jimmy show today. Here's what happened. Hold on. Let me answer a couple of these questions real quick, and then I'll tell you what happened with Trey Lance, because that was interesting too. Double R Film says, should we be concerned again with our O-line yet? Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to talk about that a little later. Yes, be concerned about the offensive line. They didn't really address it that seriously this offseason. They got a rookie and dude who's 36. Trey Niner says, not sure if it was about Jimmy more than it was about not showing other teams how good our defense is. This was the day they couldn't turn off fan phones. Yeah, but they turned the media's phones off. All the best coverage for today came from fans. I love that. So much fun. Thank you Anyway, okay, let's talk about Trey Lance. As I mentioned, I was hoping that they would give the fans the pleasure of watching the stuff that they've given the media the pleasure of watching, which is the full Trey Lance experience. 8,000 different versions of the zone read, 8,000 different versions of play action bootleg passes with conventional quarterback play mixed in. That's what you're going to see from Lance, because he can do all kind of quarterback stuff. He's just so good at he's so fast that you want to use the legs. Today was like, your legs don't exist. You're playing conventional quarterback in front of the fans with the second team offense. And he was actually having his practice was interesting. So he starts off, before it's the move the ball period, it's you playing from the 40 and just taking about 4 reps and then rotating. And while he did that, he was 7-9. Okay. He was 7-9 at that point. And that's when he got to play with Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel. He doesn't get all 3 at the same time. The big 3, Ayuk, Samuel, Kittle. He'll get 1 at a time. And he'll throw to those guys. And they're going against backups. So they should be open. I'm just saying, when he had the benefit of a couple of starters, he was 7 for 9. Keep in mind, he's playing with a terrible offensive line. And no, he can't get touched, but the play can get blown up. If a guy runs and hits him in the face, runs up into his face, the play doesn't really go on, it's over. So, and if there's pressure, he has to leave the pocket. The play's broken down. He's got Tom Compton at left. He's got Tom Compton in there. He's got Colton McKivitz in there. They switch spots. Sometimes McKivitz plays right tackle. Sometimes Compton plays right tackle. Both of them are terrible. Aaron Banks really struggling. He's in there. It's a bad offensive line that he's on, and he's facing the same defensive lineman that Jimmy's facing. The same guys, Givens, Street, Jones, Jordan Willis, Arden Key, because so many defensive linemen are hurt. They only have like 6 or 7 guys. They have to play like the whole practice. So he's facing a lot of the same defensive linemen and corners with a way worse team. Anyway, goes 7-9 when he has Ayuk and stuff. That's the same kind of stuff we see. But then the move the ball period starts. And that's where they're like full drives. So instead of just having 3-4 reps that you can split up, sometimes the offense has, the first team has 8 reps or something like that. So when Trey was on the field, he didn't get Ayuk at all. No Ayuk, no Kittle, no starters at all. It's all the backup offensive linemen, Wayne Gallman, JaMychal Hasty, Trent Sherfield, Ross Dwelly, and Richie James. That's what he's working with against a defense that's very similar to what Garoppolo's working with. And then that's when he starts missing a little bit more. He throws high over Gallman's head when he's under pressure. What else does he do? He throws across the field and gets his pass broken down by Dante Johnson on 3rd and 8. It's a pretty nice throws, a little late. So yeah, it's like they gave Jimmy Garoppolo the benefit of, here, let's take out all the starters on defense and keep you with the starters and make you look good. With Trey Lance, they were like, we're going to play you with all the backups. We're going to make you play conventional quarterback. We're not going to let you use your legs hardly at all, and go drive the field with Trent Sherfield. And he made some really nice throws. He had 2 20-yard throws to Trent Sherfield on a dime that were as nice as anything I've seen. But here's how you know they really weren't trying to show anything with Trey Lance. Okay. The last move the ball period, okay? This is what happens. He gets instant pressure on first down, throws the ball away. Second down, he runs his own read for 10 yards, gets a first down. Then on 1st and 10, Kyle Shanahan calls a run for Elijah Mitchell. He gains 4. Second down, Shanahan calls a run for Elijah Mitchell. No gain. 3rd and 6. Shanahan calls a run for Mitchell. Loses 3. End of the day for Lance. They let him go out on 3 straight runs to Mitch, 3 straight handoffs. Meanwhile, Garoppolo, like, the practice was not going to end until he threw a touchdown pass. It was not going to end until he threw a freaking touchdown pass. They had to take all the starting corners and defensive linemen off the field before it could happen. Meanwhile, they're like, Lance, just 3 handoffs, get the hell out of here, get off the field, and let's just call it a win that no one in the NFL has seen any of the plays that we're going to run with you. So that's what it looks like when you're trying to hide a secret from the rest of the league, because they already acknowledge that they're going to be using this guy, whether he's a starter or not. And they've shown us a lot of the ways they're going to use him. And I'm not allowed to talk about it specifically, but I mean, in general, it's going to be more versions of the zone read than you've ever seen. I know the Ravens do it like a lot of different cool ways. It's going to make that look elementary because they're going to be able to incorporate the entire jet sweep stuff into the zone read. So sometimes he'll do the zone read with a running back. Sometimes he'll do it with freaking Debo Samuel running across a formation. How do you stop that? Debo going one way, Trey Lance coming the other. They're not going to have to throw a whole lot. So that's what you didn't see today. You didn't see also the thing that Trey Lance does that makes him more than just Lamar Jackson is when it's time to throw, it's a play action bootleg bomb down the field, not like a little flip throw over the middle or whatever. So you didn't get to see any of that. It's coming. I just think it's funny that they charged you $10 and didn't show you. I'm sorry. I told you you'd really enjoy it, and they gave you kind of a weak show. Kyle Shanahan, how you going to do that to your fans like that? I don't know. He's like, here's Jimmy Garoppolo. Enjoy. Even though he doesn't even like Jimmy Garoppolo, I think, allegedly. That's cold. Curtis says, conspiracy theory, D'Amico Ryans to Verrett and Ward. Try not to pick off Jimmy. Just knock down his passes. We need to make him look good today. I wouldn't be surprised. It might just be understood. Like, you would really be helping the team more if you didn't intercept his pass. You'd really be helping the franchise more if you just knock it down. David says, if the goal is to trade Jimmy, are not all his reps during practice ultimately a waste? Lance needs first-team reps. Backups need to practice too. I'm going to address that next. It's a great point. I think it's a phenomenal point, and it needs to be addressed. So let's talk about it right now. Here, let me put it back on the screen because it's such a good point. And I think it's hard. I need to address this. If the goal is to trade Jimmy, are not all his reps during practice ultimately a waste? Yes. Lance needs first-team reps. Backups need to practice too. Okay. This leads me to the question, will the Niners keep both Garoppolo and Lance for all of 2021, no matter who starts? As David so astutely points out, let's say the 49ers get an offer from the Houston Texans in like 3 weeks. I think everyone figures the Niners are waiting for the Texans to trade Watson. They've already said they will. He wants out. I guess they're kind of waiting for some clarity on his legal situation. So let's say Houston trades Deshaun Watson during the preseason in like 2 or 3 weeks. And then they call up the Niners and say, we'll give you, like, let's say they get 3 or 4 first-round picks for Watson. They call up the Niners and say, we love Jimmy. We'll throw a first your way that we just got for Jimmy. And the Niners say, hallelujah, thank you very much. Absolutely. So their prayers are answered. They get a first-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo. Only problem is he took all the first-team reps with your offense in training camp. Trey Lance, I mean, he got some work with Kittle, Ayuk, Debo. That's good. But his backups, Lance and Sudfeld, had days where one would get 4 throws, the other would get 2. And the next day, the other would get 4, and the other would get 2. I didn't use the English language very well there, but you understand. Basically, Rosen goes 2 throws one day, 4 throws the next, 2 throws one day, 4 throws the next. And on the days he gets 2, Sudfeld is rewarded with 4. That's what they're going to end up practice with. I mean, camp with like 25 throws each. I can't do math. Something like that. So neither one's prepared. And now you're in a situation where the quarterback, let's say it's Trey Lance, the starting quarterback. Yeah, of course it is. You traded Jimmy Garoppolo in this hypothetical for a first-round pick to Houston. Trey Lance is a starter. You have 2 backups you don't even know and who hadn't gotten much work. And you're planning on running Trey Lance like 125 times, like Lamar Jackson. What if he misses a game or 2 or 5? He could get hurt. And then you're right back in the situation you're in last year where you're relying on a backup you don't really like. I think it's possible that one way or another, I mean, they're not going to pass up a first-round pick if it's offered to them for Jimmy Garoppolo. They won't. Short of that, though, if someone offers them a 3rd, I could see the Niners saying, you know what? No, we're going to hold on to Jimmy, even if he loses his job, and keep him as a $27 million backup. I could see the Niners doing that, partially because here's why. I think a lot of us talk about what they need to do to win the Super Bowl this year to give themselves the best chance. And I've talked about it a lot. You can't win the Super Bowl paying $34 million for quarterbacks. The Niners have the most expensive quarterback room in the NFL. It's $34 million. No one spends that much on quarterbacks on their roster. Niners do. So you can go to the playoffs like that. It's good. I mean, you're heavily invested at quarterback. You probably won't be in a situation where you're playing some guy who's making $800,000 and you're losing. You have a very good backup, because you're spending $27 million on it or a third pick in the draft on it. So I think it's possible that, if we're being honest, the Niners aren't all in to win the Super Bowl this year. If they were all in to win the Super Bowl this year, they probably would make a decision between Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo. No, they would just get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo because they already made the trade for Trey Lance. He's here forever, for a long time. They'd move on from Jimmy Garoppolo and give Trey Lance the best team a rookie quarterback has ever been surrounded with. They would fill it up with depth and veteran role players, and they would give Trey Lance the best supporting cast a rookie quarterback has ever had. But they're not doing that. They are riding the fence. They're playing for the future and for now. What they're doing is, I believe that they were given an ultimatum. John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, this offseason by Jed York. I think he said, you guys have to make the playoffs. Have to. Or else. One or both of you are fired. I love you guys, but a fourth season missing the playoffs out of 5 is unacceptable. And it's a business. And you have to make the playoffs. So if that's how the Niners are thinking, John and Kyle, like, yeah, I want to win the Super Bowl, but we have to make the playoffs. They could think like, well, to ensure that we don't get fired, we got to keep both. Got to keep both. That way, if Trey Lance becomes a starter week 3 or week 4, whenever, and plays really well and gets hurt, Jimmy's back. And now they're not in a situation where Josh Rosen and his 25 throws in camp have to win you games, because I don't know if he could, or Nate Sudfeld. So by spending $34 million on quarterbacks, you pretty much ensure that you're not going to win a Super Bowl. It's never been done. That would be a first. But you really increase your odds of making the playoffs, because if Trey Lance gets hurt, Jimmy Garoppolo could come in. The thing is, like, would Jimmy Garoppolo be disgruntled? I don't know. I think he'd be happy to make $27 million and hold a clipboard. He has a lot of experience holding clipboards. He held a clipboard for a very long time on the Patriots. He's made $90 million. If he doesn't get cut he gets to make another 27 and not play and not get hurt. I don't think he cares. I think he'd be cool being a backup on this team for a year, as long as they pay him $27 million to stand there. And I think they will, for their job security, which isn't really an exciting thought for 49ers fans. I think that's what you need to realize. There's some survival tactics going on here. It's not all about – the Rams are all in for the Super Bowl. They're not planning for the future. But the Niners are all in for the playoffs, so they can not get fired. I understand. I mean, if my boss said you got to make the playoffs, I would make sure I made the playoffs. I wouldn't do something risky that gives me a better chance to win it all, but also gives me a bigger chance to not make the playoffs. I understand. It's survival. That's why Jimmy could stay on this team as a backup. Will it split the team? Maybe. These are difficult decisions for John and Kyle. If we get rid of them and Trey gets hurt and we don't make the playoffs, I could get fired. But if we keep him as a backup and Trey Lance gets hurt running the zone read, we can bring in Jimmy Garoppolo and make the playoffs and not get fired. So not the most exciting thought. They can also say, look, we didn't like the offers for Jimmy Garoppolo. We're going to hold on to him and try again to trade him in the offseason when the cap goes back up. I don't like it. I would get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo and go all in now. Go all in now. That's what I would do. Got a lot of veterans on one-year deals, and you don't know what this team's going to look like next year. But I haven't seen the Niners going all in now. Have you? I think they're riding the fence. I think they're in self-preservation mode, survival mode, and that's why they're going to spend $34 million on quarterbacks this year. They want 2 starting quarterbacks. They want 2 starting quarterbacks for their own survival. I think that's what's happening. I don't know. Do you blame them? I kind of blame them. Stop making desperate moves. Do what's best for the franchise, not what's best for you. Don says, Grant, it's all about next Saturday at Levi's for Jimmy and Kyle. Period. Can't wait. Can't wait. Preseason. Who wins a championship first between McVay or Shanahan? Oh, man. I don't know. It's a good question. I'm going to say Shanahan because he's got Trey Lance and McVay doesn't. How about that? How about that? I think Trey Lance could win the Super Bowl this year. I think it's a shame that people are being so hesitant, like, oh my God, he's just a rookie. He's 21 years old. He's not going to be ready. I'm like, he's the third pick in the draft. He's the most physically gifted quarterback of all of them. He's more physically gifted than Zach Wilson, more physically gifted than Trevor Lawrence. He can play the quarterback position conventionally from the pocket. He's a student of the game. He's a hard worker. He's come to camp and done everything right. Played exceptionally well. Just going to sit him on the bench. Sorry, we're not going to use our first round pick this year. Just going to use him like maybe 10 plays a game, 5. Okay. All right. It's not what I would do. Grant, what are some of the things he's doing now that's different than what he did at NDSU? Not a whole lot. Like nothing. He's doing all the stuff he did at NDSU. The only thing he's doing differently is probably, I don't know, some slight techniques, but in terms of the plays and the concepts, it's the same stuff. Maybe he's doing a little bit more zone read than he did at North Dakota State. I don't know. More sophisticated ball fix. Maybe that's why he's had these fumbles, because it's like, I don't know. Jimmy's really good at the hand and offs. He's great with the handoffs. Trey's got to get on his level with that. What is Lance's 40 time if you had to guess? Like 4.49, high 4.4s. He hit 21 miles an hour. He's hella fast. Hella fast. Super duper fast. 4.4 something. Yeah, I will say. When will it be time to consider Kinlaw a bust? Whew. Okay, let's talk about Kinlaw. So I keep doing the same thing. Kinlaw misses a practice, and I say, man, this guy needs to come back and work. Otherwise, he's going to be a bust. And then the next day, he's back. And he doesn't do one-on-ones, but he's in there on 11-on-11s working. And I'm like, nice. Good job, Kinlaw. And the next day, he gone. It's like, what is your deal? Can you not practice 2 days in a row? You're a second-year player. You're already managing this messed up knee. What is the deal? I mean, he's been out there for a lot of camp. He's done a lot of the drills. He's had some work in 11-on-11s. He has taken 0 reps in one-on-ones. And that's really where you show what you're made of as a pass rusher. It's where you can get some real good reps against a good player and improve. Last year, he got dominated by Laken Tomlinson almost every single time. This year, I was kind of hoping to see if he'd made some strides. And it didn't have to be all on day one. He could have shown improvement over a training camp, but he's never done it. And I don't think he will. I don't know what's up with him. It's hard to say, but it's interesting to look at the Niners past all their first round picks since John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan have gotten here. Okay. Trey Lance, great player. They don't want to play him. They're just going to keep him on the bench this year. Really seems really good. Javon Kinlaw, maybe a bust. Can't stay on the field. Nick Bosa, managing his second torn ACL. You know who else had managing his second torn ACL? Let's leave it at that. McGlinchey, Solomon Thomas. Those are their first round picks. Now, Trey Lance is great. Oh, also Brandon Ayuk. Let's give him some credit too. The 2 guys on offense, the last 2 guys on offense. But Kinlaw, Bosa, where are you guys? I'm going to talk about Bosa in a minute. Bosa is very interesting to me. He's fascinating. One of the more interesting players in the league. His entire family. They're kind of like the Mannings of defense, if you think about it. Sea Valley Niner fan says, so basically when they started simulating real football and driving the ball, he took a step back. He's going to be playing with the 2s next Saturday. So, no, I don't think he took a step back. I think he was playing with Tom Compton and Colton McKivitz and all the backup receivers and wasn't really allowed to use any of the stuff that he was shredding the defense with the last 3 days. And I think the Niners got the result they were expecting. So, Sea Valley Niner fan, if you're rooting against Trey Lance, that's a peculiar position to take because that's your quarterback long term. He's having a good camp. You should be happy. There's like 25% of Niner fans who are real skeptical about any positive Lance news and really feel like, despite the fact that the Niners made this move for him, that it's Jimmy Garoppolo's team until further notice. And any other, if it's talked about in any other way, it's disrespected. I don't know, man. I feel like Kyle Shanahan disrespected him the most by trading for Trey Lance. Like, that was the ultimate slap in the face. Not my interpretation of Jimmy Garoppolo's camp. Sea Valley Niner fan, if that is your real name. Ominous24 says, maybe the best thing the Niners can do is keep Jimmy and let him learn from Trey. That might raise his trade value. Yeah. Here, watch Trey throw the ball really freaking hard. Now you do that. Watch Trey go through his progressions efficiently. Now you do that. Watch Trey transfer his weight when he throws. I'm sorry. Why did I do that? Johnny says, Grant, I called it. Shanahan got tired of dealing with mobile quarterbacks in the division, destroying his defense. Fight, fire, fire. Your thoughts? I agree. He can't stop him. They make they all seem to work out. They made the right call. They just didn't let the guy do the mobile stuff today. Trey says, can you explain how the Niners get better by trading Jimmy? I get it frees up money, but who is out there we can get if no team trades a player? Look on Spot Track. There are a bunch of vets that you could get for $3-4 million who would help. The Niners have no depth in the secondary. They're currently starting a journeyman named Tavon Wilson at strong safety. Their top 5 defensive linemen are hurt. I mean, they don't need to be spending $27 million on a mediocre quarterback after they just mortgage the future for this uber talented quarterback who's crushing it in camp. You know, they could take that and get 5 players. They could get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo and get 5 players who would make the team better. Depth is important. This team has the most injuries of any team in football. The more good players, the better. You don't need $27 million on the bench, but that's just my personal feeling. I don't know. Maybe people feel differently. Seth says, crazy theory, but next Saturday, I don't think they will use Lance as much as we think because of your same reasoning, Grant. What do you think? Yeah, I was expecting, I feel like what we saw today at Levi's is what we're going to see in training camp. A lot of Jimmy. And when Trey does play, it's going to be the most vanilla stuff you've ever seen. Because when Trey becomes the starter, or even whenever Trey gets on the field as a starter or as a part-time quarterback this year, they want it to be shock and awe. They want it to be totally surprising and defenses not to know what to expect. Because it's going to be a lot of just runs. Tricky runs with the quarterback. And some play action stuff off of that at first. So they want it to be a surprise. They're not going to show it in front of fans. They're not going to show it in preseason. I agree. It might look kind of, humble for Trey Lance in preseason. And they're going to try their best to make Jimmy look good. I just don't know if there's that much you can do. I don't know. When defenses know that they don't have to defend honor anything beyond 15 yards or outside the numbers, they're just going to constrict them. That's why Jason Verrett is breaking up 2 or 3 passes a day on Jimmy, because he knows he doesn't have to honor like half the route tree. I'm just saying. Well, what else we got? Jose says, just because. Thanks, Grant. Thank you for providing content. Listen to you all the time. Thank you very much, Jose. That was very generous of you. I appreciate it. All right. I hate to say it, but Alex Mack looks old. I mean, I understand that he had a great career. He was great at Cal. He was great at Cleveland. He was really good on the Falcons when they went to the Super Bowl 5 years ago when Kyle Shanahan was their offensive coordinator. But now he looks old. He looks in one-on-one drills. He loses every time. He lost every time today. And he went up his first 2 times against Darian Daniels, who's I actually like, former undrafted free agent. He's not going to make the team. Be on the practice squad. So the practice squad defensive tackle whipped the starting center twice today in one-on-ones. Then Kevin Givens did. Kevin Givens actually is a borderline starter. He's going to make the team. But I don't know. It's supposed to be a good center, and he can't beat anyone. I mean, he's getting knocked over. First rep against Darian Daniels, he ended up on one knee like a 36-year-old. I don't know. I understand that you don't really judge a center based on how he does in one-on-ones because a lot of time, I mean, most of the time in games, he's not isolated and he's working in tandem with the guard. And a lot of what he does is mental with, setting protections and calling out blitzes and all that. And that's great. Coaching the field, great. He looks old. At a certain point, athleticism and strength and all that stuff matter. You can't. I don't know. I'll keep watching. I waited 9. I've been feeling this way all of camp. I just didn't want to come out and say it because I really wanted to look closely and make sure I seen a lot. And every time I watch Alex Mack, I'm like, I don't know. Looks old. I mean, Weston Richburg looked better than this in the one-on-ones. I'm not a coach. I never played, but I have watched 11 training camps, 11 off seasons, 11 OTAs and mini camps. So I have a memory bank of things to compare it to. I remember what Weston Richburg looked like in one-on-ones. Better than this. Weston Richburg's younger than Alex Mack, too. He's just done. Anyway, Alex Mack might be done, too. I don't know. I think it's interesting that they moved Brunskill from right guard to backup center because I think they feel like they need someone good at backup center just in case. Because Alex Mack, I don't know. I know some people said they were impressed with him in 11 on 11s. I don't know. I just haven't been impressed with him at all in one-on-ones, and we're going to have to watch real closely during the preseason because might be washed up, guys. I don't know. Something to think about. Something to watch. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. Okay, a bunch of these. Okay. Jesse says, I feel they need to boost Jimmy's value before the season starts. Yeah, I agree. That's what today was all about. RG3 was rookie of the year with rookie running back and decent receivers. 49ers have stud wide receivers and a killer defense. Thoughts on the Rooks' chances? Yeah! This team is the best team. You could argue the best team ever assembled around a rookie quarterback. Let him play. You got Kittle, Ayuk, and Debo and Mostert and Juszczyk on the field at the same time and a quarterback who goes through his progressions quickly and extends plays. I don't see how you can miss. We've seen what Jimmy can do with this team. I'm just saying. Harmon Bath says, hey, Grant, next Saturday, what QB gets most reps and what order will they play in? I don't know. That's the $1 million question. We will find out. I'm guessing Jimmy plays. I don't know. Maybe he won't play that much. Week 1, a lot of times the starter gets 2 drives and the backup gets, a little more time. I have no idea. We'll see. We shall see. Russ says, please do a show in 2 months comparing the top 8 drafted quarterbacks this year. Certainly. Absolutely. James says, agreed. In my opinion, he's like Goodwin from Harbaugh years. Who? Alex Mack? Who are we talking? Sorry. Okay. All right. Here we go. Aaron Banks. Another guy I didn't want to say too much about because it's early. But I've waited 9 days now, and I've watched a fair amount of one-on-ones, and I've yet to see anything I'm impressed with from Aaron Banks. He's okay in one-on-ones. He doesn't get dominated, but he loses about every other rep. And he gets no reps with the starters in 11 on 11s because he's not that good yet. Like today, at the end, when they were doing the move the ball period and trying to run it with Elijah Mitchell, he kept getting beat by Maurice Hurst into the backfield. Like Maurice Hurst was owning Aaron Banks today. And Maurice Hurst isn't going to make the team. When I watch the offensive line coaches work with Aaron Banks, it's a lot of cursing. Every single time he does something that corrects him, whether it's his feet or the way he uses his hands or his arm placement. And there's a lot of cursing. I don't think that's good. It seems to me that they're going to try anyone at right guard before him. Colton McKivitz, So not great. I don't know. I mean, we'll ultimately judge Alex Mack and Aaron Banks and all these offensive linemen during the preseason when there's actual hitting. But just saying, with my 11 years of experience and all the guards that I've seen and offensive linemen, not really impressed. I mean, Aaron Banks makes Laken Tomlinson look like Larry Allen. He does. You compare Laken Tomlinson to Aaron Banks, there's no comparison. Laken Tomlinson is way better. And Laken Tomlinson is just a serviceable guard in the NFL. Aaron Banks, maybe it's the jersey number. They shouldn't have gave him 65. But Aaron Banks looks like Josh Garnett right now. He could improve, but wow, not impressed. Not impressed. And they need him to step up because if it ain't him, it's no one. Colton Kivitz. They need him to step up. I don't know. He may not have it in him. Not impressed. I don't know. Did you guys see him there today? What did you think of Aaron Banks? They did one-on-ones right in front of us. Thanks for $2. Thank you. I appreciate it. Johnny says, Grant, much respect, bro. You look exhausted. Yeah, I'm exhausted. I'm hella tired, and I got practice again tomorrow. But I'm going to make it through. I know. I look terrible. Joe says, here's $5. Thanks. Just because I look terrible. Thanks. Here's $5. Take a shower. Matt H says, Banks too big for Kyle's scheme. Is he slow? He just doesn't look. I don't know. He just keeps getting beaten at the point of attack by pass rushers. It seems like he just can't keep people out of the backfield. I don't know. He doesn't look like he's in great shape. I don't know, man. He just kind of looks soft, big and soft, like Josh Garnett. I don't know. I don't want to be too definitive here. It's just been 9 days and I've seen nothing good. So that's sorry. He's from El Cerrito, though. I want to like him. Come on, Aaron. I'm calling you out so you can play better. I'm trying to see something. I'm dying to describe some good play from you. 49ers make the playoffs. Let the Bears grow. Huh. The Chicago Bears? I don't know. I think that's what he meant. Okay. Last thing I want to talk about, and then it's over. Nick Bosa's recovery. I talk about this every day. It's fascinating to me. And I keep comparing it to D Ford. I think it's real clear that D Ford is on the Niners plan. Like he's every day, except for today, they give him a little more. There's a progression. If he handles it well, there's no setback, they'll give him a little more. To the point where they give him a couple of reps here and there. Like maybe until today, the last 3 days, it was about 10 reps a day in one-on-ones. Get his feet wet. Get him out there. What's the worst that could happen? This is a guy with spinal injuries who, I mean, those are it's really serious. God forbid he gets hurt again in practice, but they're taking the risk. Go rush against Mike McGlinchey in 11-on-11s with your back injury. Good luck. If you can't do it now, you can't do it in the season. So that's the way they handle D Ford. Nick Bosa, no. Same thing every day. He goes out there. He rolls up his pants to show off his quads. He rolls up his shirt to show off his abs. He's got a gold chain on. He wears black and gold Jordans. He looks so put together. He struts around the field so people could take pictures of him and take videos. And he lines up in the stands and he takes a few steps and he practices doing a little this. And then everyone else goes and does, hard work. And he goes back, still walking around and working on his, like he's the greatest player of all time and doesn't have to practice. Now, I know he's less than 12 months removed from torn ACL, and this is probably the smartest way to go. It's just not the way that the Niners normally operate. And comparing it to D Ford is a clear counterexample there. Why the special treatment for Nick Bosa when D Ford clearly has a very serious injury he's coming back from too, if not more serious? Neck injury? That's less cut and dry in terms of recovery than ACL. I think it's possible that this unique and kind of weird offseason from Nick Bosa is a Bosa production. I think this might be what his camp wants. Remember, the Bosas are very powerful. They're like the Mannings. His dad was in the league. His dad was a first-round pick in 1987. His brother is in the league, has already gotten a $30 million a year contract. They're their own little corporation. And while Nick Bosa plays for the 49ers now, he's not making decisions based on what's best for the 49ers now. He's making decisions based on what's best for him long term. Because you have to know the history of the Bosas. Who in the class knows what happened to John Bosa in his career? Who knows? Raise your hand. Yes, John Bosa tore both his ACLs. He blew out both knees. This was back in the late 80s, early 90s. He probably felt he returned too fast, that he was pushed too hard, and that he was never the same. That's the story of John Bosa. Tore 2 ACLs, never was the same, never got to have the big career that Nick and Joey had. I mean, Joey's going to make hundreds of millions of dollars. Nick too, probably. Thing is about Nick, that he's like his dad. He's torn both his ACLs, just like his dad. And while that doesn't mean that he's going to go out like his dad and his career is going to fall apart, I'm sure it's crossed their mind that there's a little carryover between father and son, and they should probably be careful because you don't want what happened to John to happen to Nick. So I wonder, it feels highly irregular what's going on with Nick Bosa. No progress, no ramp up, just the same kind of glorified stretching every day. What is that? I think it's a Bosa production. Maybe they're right. Maybe John Bosa knows exactly how to handle his son, and maybe he's better at it than the Niners. The Niners don't exactly have a great track record with health and recovery and all that stuff. I just think it's fun to track. I'm not judging. I'm just trying to figure out what's happening. And I think I'm right. I think what we're watching is John Bosa and the agent saying, look, Nick's going to be there, but he's not going to be in 11-on-11s or 1-on-1s. You just need to know that. It's not what he's going to do. Okay. I also wonder, and I talked about this yesterday, is he going to play week 1? We don't know what his camp's timeline is. I'm sure he'd love to be out there for the 49ers every game. And he was as a rookie. But he wasn't coming off a torn ACL as a rookie. Now he's coming off his second torn ACL, just like his dad. Is he going to rush it to be ready week 1 for the 49ers? That's risky. I don't think so. If he's ready, he'll play week 1. But if he's not, then he'll wait until week 2 or week 3 or week 4 or whatever it takes. And I think that's not being talked about enough right now. The Niners are certainly Super Bowl contenders. Trey Lance is very, very promising. But if Nick Bosa has kind of an in and out year where he comes back late and maybe he's a part-time player for a while, how good is this defense going to be? Here's my prediction. When he finally does come back, he won't play 2 series in a row. That's what he did at Ohio State. He was coming back from an ACL injury that he had in high school, and I think his dad and their camp told Ohio State, look, he's not playing back-to-back series. He'll start, but then the next series you put someone else in. I don't want you overworking. He played like 1,000 snaps in college. It wasn't very much. I think D Ford might play more than Nick Bosa. D Ford could start week 1 and play 75% of the snaps. Nick Bosa, who knows if he plays week 1. And if he does, he might play every other series. He might play 49% of the snaps. Anyway, it's interesting. I don't know. This is the I was always against the Niners trading for drafting Nick Bosa because the injury history and the family. They're a very, very powerful, independent family that does stuff on their terms, what suits them, not necessarily what suits the rest of your team. And you're at their mercy sometimes. So I think the Niners are at the mercy of Nick Bosa right now. And when he comes back, he'll come back. Who the hell knows when that'll be? Nick might not even know. He'll have to wait for John to tell him when he can play. Hey, Dad, am I ready? No? Okay. I'll just keep stretching. Just saying. A little bit of a diva in that family. There's a diva tendency in that family. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. But, they knew what they were getting into. There's a couple more, and then I'm going to go. Jimmy for Buckner since Wentz is out. Great trade. Oh, yeah. I think that's definitely what's going to happen. Jimmy for Buckner. That would be poetic justice. Kevin says, how does Ayuk look in camp compared to last year? He looks the same. He was great last year. He's really good this year. Debo is a little more explosive than him. Ayuk has great hands. I mean, long arms, can make more contested catches. But you know what would make Ayuk look better than last year? Starting Trey Lance. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Starting Trey Lance. Ayuk and Debo are only gonna look so good while Mr. James is a starting quarterback. Can we agree on that? Can we agree? I'm just saying. Whew. Grant, how are you gonna interview players on your channel when you bad talk them? Jimmy Ward said I'm an asshole and that the teammates at the team likes it. So I'm their asshole. And the fact that I'm such an asshole to the players who are messing up, and the fact that I praise the ones who are doing well, I feel like it gives the praise weight. There are some people who only praise. I give it out equally. So I think the players want to be praised, appreciate the praise, and if I knock them, they either want to prove me wrong or they hate me. The good ones prove me wrong, though. Thank you very much for watching. I'm clearly exhausted and dehydrated. You guys can see it. I got one more day to go, though, and then I got an off day. Let's do this. Tomorrow's going to be interesting. I'm going to relax tonight. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate all the views and the donations. And now I'm out. I'll see you. Is there practice tomorrow? Yeah, there's practice tomorrow. And then there's a day off on Monday.